Lagyu, Vakya, Vritti, verses 7 and verse 8. Verse 7 is really, really small. So, well, the verse isn't small, but the explanation is small. The first 4 lines is the rest of them. Okay. Verse 7. Notions like qualities and defects of form, etc., are activities of the mind. Those activities, together with their objects, are understood as being illumined by consciousness. And what we're looking at now are the modifications of the mind. Inasmuch that the qualities and defects within the mind are vrittis, thoughts in the mind. Vrittis is thoughts in Sanskrit. The vrittis in the mind represent objects, and the vrittis also tell us about the nature of objects. So whatever you experience, it's experienced in the mind. All the vrittis of the mind in the mind and the objects external to the mind, they are all illumined by consciousness. And it sounds a bit like Pratibambhavada, the theory of reflection here, though this verse, it's leading on to laying the groundwork for the next verse. And Swami Tavananda says again, so what? Big deal. You know, what's the point? And so we'll get to the point now. Verse 8. Verse 8 is really, really, really important. I guess they all are, but verse 8 is really, in verse 8 we're drilling down into these prakriyas again, Pratibambhavada, and notably Avachadavada. Okay, verse 8. Distinct from the qualities and defects of those forms is pure consciousness. That consciousness conforms to the cognitions of form, taste, etc. This is a very curious verse because this is speaking about something that is separate from form, separate from qualities and defects. Shankaracharya is telling us that the vrittis of the mind, there's something separate. There is something distinct, separate, different from those vrittis in the mind. And what Shankaracharya is talking about is consciousness. So what's being said is that consciousness, pure consciousness, is separate from the mind. So we have to inquire into that. How does that make sense? In other teachings we're looking at, there is no difference, there's no separation. So now we're going to, in this verse, look at how we can separate that which cannot be separated. And this is one of the keys to assimilating jnanam in real life and in real time. Okay. So we're going to try to separate pot from clay. But how can we do this? We have went over this metaphor many, many times. Physically, we can't separate pot from clay. It's obvious, yes? Can you separate them experientially? Can you experience the pot without experiencing the clay? Well, no, because the pot is clay. Yeah? If you're experiencing the clay pot, you're experiencing clay. Yeah, of course. So we can't physically separate them, the clay and pot. We can't experientially separate the clay and pot. And this is very, very, very important. They are eternally, intrinsically together. But this text, this verse is saying that your vrittis, your thoughts, this text, the verse is saying that your vrittis, your thoughts, and consciousness are separate. So, what's that? What's that about? They're not separate in experience, because is the wave separate from water? Is it? Obviously not. Is the pot separate from clay? Of course not. So are your vrittis, your thoughts, separate from consciousness? No, they can't be. Not in a physical sense, nor in the experiential sense. So even though we can't separate pot from clay, water from wave in the physical or the experiential sense, are we not still able to make a distinction? Well, of course we can. Or else how do we say a pot and how do we say a clay? The very fact that we have two different words is make a distinction, okay? The pot is form and the clay is content. We've just made a distinction. Vakya, discrimination, okay, of that which is the same, yeah? And this is because we're able to do this because there are two factors. The first factor is form, the other factor is content. This isn't physical, it isn't experiential, but it's a distinction based on knowledge. And this is why in Advaita Vedanta, Jnanam, knowledge, is the way to freedom. Because knowledge stays, experience comes and experience goes. So we don't rely on physical, we don't rely on experiential, we rely on knowledge. Because knowledge alone, it's knowledge that allows you to make a difference between wave and water, yeah? Knowledge alone allows you to make a difference between pot and clay. So now knowledge alone allows you to make a difference between vrittis, thoughts, and consciousness. We can't deny that form is not identical to content. Form is not different from content. So with this knowledge, we will see that this experience right now is equivalent to pot. It is form. Experience is form. It's a form of pure consciousness. Okay. The implications from this show that will reveal that since this experience is a form, this class is a form of pure consciousness, all experience is a form of pure consciousness. All thoughts are a form of pure consciousness. All feelings are a form of pure consciousness. When I'm happy, it's a form of pure consciousness. When I'm sad, it's a form of pure consciousness. There only is pure consciousness, Advaita, non-duality. We can go through this a million times and it's going to be the same answer. Everything is a form, everything and no thing It's a form of pure consciousness. You start getting mind-boggling. It becomes so obvious. Because everything is a form of pure consciousness, what is the problem? The problem is a form of pure consciousness, which means it's okay for there to be a problem. That's what we get to. It's okay for there to be a problem. It's okay for not to be. It's okay for there to be. So because everything is pure consciousness, we begin to be content constantly. Because even if we're not content, that's pure consciousness as well. It's a form of pure consciousness. There's no way getting around this. So pure consciousness is separate from all the vrittis of our mind. And this difference is made through understanding. And this is going to be explained here. We're now looking at avacharavara again. Consciousness assumes the form of whatever you see, hear, taste, touch, or smell. Clay assumes the form of pot. Sorry, let me just backtrack slightly. If I can get my wording right here. When we're looking at experience, all experience, any vritti being a form of pure consciousness, the implication is consciousness is all that is. And then it looks as if we're contradicting when we say that, or when Vedanta says that pure consciousness is separate from all the vrittis in the mind. The reason why, let me get this right now, the reason why we're making a distinction, the reason why we're making a distinction between pure consciousness and the forms is that we're going to show that pure consciousness is the underlying reality of everything, of every form. Okay, so it sounds as if we're saying that for us to understand that the underlying reality of everything is the same, we have to make a distinction between form and the underlying reality, between form and content. Is that understood? Okay, is that understood? Okay. So this consciousness assumes the form of whatever you see, hear, taste, touch, or smell. Clay assumes the form of pot, and water assumes the form of wave. Clay doesn't have any form itself, so it can assume the form of a pot. We have big pots, small pots, wide pots, thin pots, beautiful pots, ugly pots, whatever attributes we put on them. Clay assumes the form of them all because clay has no form of itself. And it's the same with consciousness. Consciousness assumes the form of Vritti's thoughts. Your thoughts are consciousness with form superimposed on consciousness. Okay. So thoughts are consciousness with form superimposed on it. Okay. Are you waving at me, Nemanja? Or stretching your arm? I just see the big wave. Okay. Yeah, hello. Okay. This text explains the relationship between consciousness and experience. And Swami Rabananda says he hasn't found in any other text, which means that this text is a primary text for us to bridge the gap between knowledge and experience, or to put it another way, this text is a primary vehicle for us to assimilate the Anam knowledge in life. Okay, guys, that is those two verses. Any questions, please? Vicky? Yeah.
Yeah. So line 1 says, distinct from the qualities and defects of those forms is pure consciousness. But then you have qualities and defects and forms and consciousness. So forms itself is also form. Like you have a table, and a quality of a table could be a beautiful table, or it can be a bad table. But the word table itself is also just form.
Yeah,
the table itself also.
The table is Namarupa, name and form. So,
yeah.
But name and form of what? If we keep it that it's easy for us to see. We have the starting position in life that even before we come to Vedanta, that a table is name and form. That's easy to look at, but that there leaves it as an object, an individual object, a thing. That leaves it as a thing that's individual, that's separate and different from, say, a chair, for example. That's the problem, because once we see two, once we have the primary perception of two, Dvaita, duality, then samsara is brought into play. Okay, so the vision of Vedanta is to enable the person, is to enable the mind to have the primary perception of Advaita, non-duality, even though the sense organs pick up individual objects in what appears to be Dvaita and what appears to be duality. So by this point, we're seeing that the primary perception in the mind is Advaita, even though the sense organs pick up individual objects. But by then it's known, the anima is there, clear by then. It only appears that these are individual objects. There is no individual object. You know, there can't be individual objects when there only is Advaita. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And I just don't understand.
Go ahead, sorry, it's okay. Go.
Oh, sorry.
Go. It's okay.
Yeah. So line 3 and 4, but that's my English. That consciousness, so consciousness conforms to the cognition of form, taste, etc. But I don't understand the word conforms, but that is a language thing. I don't understand what it means.
Consciousness conforms. Consciousness assumes. Assumes is another word, yeah. Consciousness assumes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, consciousness conforms to the cognitions of form.
And cognition is knowledge.
Yes, whatever the mind. Yes, this is to do with experience. Consciousness conforms to the cognitions of form, taste, etc. Whatever the sense organs pick up, Vicky, whatever the sense organs pick up and the mind interprets, consciousness illumines. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I understand. Thank you.
The sense organs are looking at. You're looking at the sense organs are picking up your surroundings now, and they're relaying information. They're relaying that information back to the mind, and the mind is illuminating that. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
we look
now,
at. Sorry for interrupting. We look at Drigdarsha Viveka as well. In Drigdarsha Viveka, we have Sakshi, the witnessing consciousness, and it illumines the mind, and the mind illumines the sense organs, and so that's the way it goes down more from very, very subtle to gross. Okay.
Yeah.
Sense?
Because it also, it seems now, yes, it makes sense. Thank you. Now it seems that this body or this body mind thing is talking to you and seeing you guys on the screen as objects.
Sure.
But this itself is also an object. Yeah.
What's an object? Say it again, please. Say that.
So it seems like now I, Vicky, am talking to Robert.
Sure.
And Robert is an object to Vicky.
Yeah.
But Vicky is also an object to consciousness, to me.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Yeah, that's right, Vicky. That's.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me think. Yes, if we're talking consciousness in regard to Sakshi illumines the mind. Yes. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Right, sure.
Yes.
Sure. Depends
Yes.
on the
Thank you.
depends on the context of depends on the context usually, I guess, really of consciousness. But yeah. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Let me just go over this briefly. This again, because this is really important. This paragraph, the last paragraph, which is of Avacharavada, is really, really important. Clay doesn't have a form. Clay doesn't have any form itself. Water doesn't have any form itself. Consciousness doesn't have any form of itself. So clay assumes any name and form. Water assumes any name and form, and consciousness assumes any name and form. Okay. So clay can assume the name and form of a pot. Like we said, it can be a big pot, small pot, beautiful pot, clean pot, dirty pot, whatever. And if we focus on the individual, on those attributes, those individual attributes of pots, big pot, small pot, clean pot, dirty pot, old pot, young pot, all those kind of things, that brings into play automatically limitation, as in pots, comparison, as in what is better or what is best or what is not as good, and judgments, all those kind of things, idealism, all those kind of things. And while Vedanta says that we still keep the utility of needing to have different pots, there's a question of whether the limitation, the comparison, the judgments, the idealism is valid for the person. Does that give the person, does that enable the person to be constantly contented? And it doesn't. Okay. So to get away, to dissolve this comparison, judgments, idealism, all those kind of things, then we look at what is the adishtantam, what is the underlying reality of pots, which is clay, the underlying reality of wave, which is water, the underlying reality of all objects, all things, which is consciousness. Okay. This means as well that all experience is form. Experience is form. Experience is limited because the form is limited. Okay. So if we're chasing experience, there's a problem. That's the limitation. If we understand that all experience, no matter what it is consciousness, then first of all, it may help us not need to chase experience, because one experience or no experiences or transition between experiences is all consciousness. Because experience is form of consciousness and there only is consciousness, then this Jnana reveals that your consciousness, that you are limitless, that you're not lacking anything. Okay. Okay, guys, any more questions? No. Okay, guys, we'll see class next time then, okay? Namaste then. Bye. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Good.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Thank you,
Bye.
Robert.
Bye.